back to my Bible study, and today we're going into chapter 6, and that is about Noah and the time that he lived in. So I'm going to start reading to you in Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1. Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with men forever, for he is indeed flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. Then the Lord saw the wickedness of men was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. Now I dug a little deeper into the concordance, in the Matthew Henry Concordance, and also in the book of Enoch. So that's what I'm going to do next, is give you some more information. So in the commentaries that I was looking into, they all agreed that the family of Seth had mixed marriages with the family of Cain. And I'm going to read in the Matthew Henry here, just a little bit for you. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with men, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. This comes in here a token of God's displeasure of those who married strange wives. He threatened to withdraw from them his spirit, whom they had grieved by such marriages. Contrary to their conviction, fleshly lust are often punished with spiritual judgments, the sorest of all judgments, or as another occasion of the great wickedness of the old world. The Spirit of the Lord being provoked by the resistance of his emotion, and ceased to strive with them. And then all religion was soon lost among them. So it is very interesting. There are different opinions about who were the sons of God. Some believe that the sons of God were not the family of Seth, but the fallen angels. And I'm going to read in the book of Enoch a little bit there. I did some research, and I've read the book of Enoch at least twice, so that's what I'll do next. I'm going to read to you in the book of Enoch in chapter 6 and 7. The title is The Fall of the Angels. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and begot us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then sware they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were all 200 who descended of Jared from on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. Chapter 7. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bore great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the equations of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. The earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. In Numbers 13:33, it says, "And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in their own sight as grasshoppers, as so we were in their sight." We know that angels can transform themselves in human forms, and it says that in Hebrews 13:2, "Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares." Enoch also prophesied about Noah. So I did find some really interesting information in the book of Enoch about the birth of Noah, and that he was a very special child, and he was chosen by God. I'm going to read again in the book of Enoch in chapter 106. "And after some days my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white as snow and red as the blooming of the rose, and the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes beautiful. When he opened his eyes, he lighted up the whole house like the sun, and the whole house was very bright. And thereupon he arose in the hands of the midwife, opened his mouth, and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him, and fled, and came to his father Methuselah. He said unto him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike man, and resembling the sons of God of heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us, and his eyes are as the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. And it seems to me that he is not sprung from me, but from the angels, and I fear that in his days a wonder may be wrought on the earth." I'm just going to explain that Lamech was the father of Noah, and he ran to his father Methuselah, and they both then prayed to Enoch for an answer. And this is verse 13 now. "And I, Enoch, answered and said unto him, The Lord will do a new thing on the earth, and this I have already seen in a vision, and made known to thee, that in a generation of my father Jared, some of the angels of heaven transgressed the word of the Lord. And behold, they commit sin and transgress the law, and have united themselves with women, and commit sin with them, and have married some of them, and have begot children by them. Yea, there shall come a great destruction over the whole earth, and there shall be a deluge and great destruction for 1 year. And his son, who has been born unto you, shall be left on the earth, and their 3 children shall be saved with him, when all mankind that are in the earth shall die. And they shall produce on the earth giants, not according to the spirit, but according to the flesh. And there shall be a great punishment on the earth, and the earth shall be cleansed from all impurity. And now make known to thy son Lamech, that he who has been born is in truth his son, and call his name Noah, for he shall be left to you, and he and his son shall be saved from the destruction which shall come upon the earth, on account of all the sin and all the unrighteousness which shall be consummated on the earth in his days." God informed Enoch about his great-grandson Noah. So I found that very interesting, the information in the book of Enoch about the sons of God. And now I'm going to read from chapter 6, verse 7 to 14. And it says, "So the Lord said, I will destroy man from whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and bird of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark and cover it inside, outside with pitch. So I found this study very interesting. So please join me next time for part 2 in the study of Noah. And I just want to say blessings to you all until the next time.